I don't even have the bodies anymore. I have like 25 of these hand puppets that I use to act out stories in a puppet theater. Now, we're going to talk about puppet theaters in this series. I'm going to show you how to make some. I'm going to have you write if you want to know where to buy some. But there are a lot of kinds of puppets, and the kind that I should have made a body, but I haven't used these kind in a long time. But the hand puppet that the mouth doesn't move, which is all right, especially if the teacher is on the outside doing the dialogue, or there's an announcer, we used to call it, doing the dialogue for the different heads. But it's not as believable when you have puppets' mouths that don't work. Because you see, puppetry and ventriloquism, why it's so fascinating, I've learned through the years, is because it's an illusion. It's an illusion that these little creatures are talking, and sort of draws your attention. It's sort of like a leprechaun type thing. They're little, sometimes they're not always little, but they're unusual looking. Let's say for an example, when we see an unusual looking person, a lot of people stare, and people say don't stare. It's the same thing with puppets and ventriloquist figures. They're unusual looking. They draw your attention. Like I remember Mr. Ed on television being a talking horse, which draws your attention right away because you usually don't see inanimate objects speaking. And so when you see a little piece of rubber or cloth speaking, it draws your attention right away. And then too, puppets and ventriloquist figures are non-threatening because they're just a piece of, just an object, you see, where people are threatening and they aren't. And they tend more to be friends with the audience. Now, through the years, puppetry and ventriloquism, of course, has been not only for children. So many people have said to me, "How's your little puppet show?" And I like to go, because I consider what I do for families, for everyone, and that's the way it should be considered. Of course, Romper Room puppets would be for children, Mr. Rogers, but what about the Muppet Show? What about Barbara Mandrell and the Croft puppets? And there are so many things now I see on the Comedy Channel on cable. They've got a lot of different things they're doing with puppets. There's a man that stands there dressed up with a little people in the stage. It's very unusual. And what I want to do with you is to stir your creativity and your imagination. Now, just because a book says this is the way puppet shows should be done or ventriloquism shows should be done, that doesn't mean anything, because the way you do it, if it's successful, there are a lot of things in this world that haven't been invented yet. This is a wonderful world. I've had to work for the things that I'm going to show you in this series. God does not just drop things on your lap, because first of all, you wouldn't appreciate it. It's just my daughter's always wishing it was easier for singing and acting and things like that, and I turned the radio on the other day and I said to her, "Look, Peg, isn't this great?" And I turned it on and I started mouthing the words. I didn't know the words. See how good I can sing? And she laughed, and I said, "It's the same thing. If it was easy, anybody could do it. But we need some blood, sweat, and tears." My executive producer will tell you that when he started his television show, Thunder Alley, it was called Racing on Dirt, and he has paid his dues, believe me. And this is what we all have to do. And it's only right that we have to do this, because if it was easy, like I said, anyone would do it. You don't appreciate it unless you have to work for it. Like the parents will say today about the kids that have to go out and charge everything and have everything right away. They'll be a lot happier if they have to work for it, and that when they do get it, then they'll really appreciate it. And the same thing with the things that I'm going to show you in this series and teach you. It's not going to be easy, I'll tell you right now, but when you're done, it's really worthwhile. Now, my puppets and ventriloquist figures I've made, most all of them. I have had some help, but when you see them, you're going to know that I paid dearly. But they're mine, and I'm proud of myself for doing this. I have good self-esteem, and you can do the same. One of my pet peeves is people spending all their time in front of television, not using don't turn it off, but not using their creativity. And so this is what I want to challenge you to do. And for your happiness, then learn this puppetry. Learn ventriloquism. Make yourself some puppets or some ventriloquist figures. Go to a nursing home. Go to a hospital. Go visit a sick friend. You always know somebody who's down in the dumps. Entertain them with a joke or two. Sing them a little song. Cheer them up. That's what life's about. You know, and life's like a boomerang, and whatever you give comes back to you, and it's all so exciting. Well, I had these puppets for a little while, but they really didn't satisfy me. And I've had various puppet theaters. So what did I have next? Oh, I remember that the Higley puppets made those. I don't know if they still do anymore, but I had Louie, and I've had another one I show in another series, Louie and say hi. Hi. Louie and Goldie, and Billy and Waldo, and I used them a lot in the puppet theater. I wrote all kinds of plays. In fact, I wrote for a magazine for a long time, and I had my puppet plays, 21 different puppet plays printed there, and that in the magazine that I later put into a book. Well, I practiced with other people, but nobody wanted to practice as much as I did. And the children will go through different stages, and teenagers will help you for a while, but then other things get more interesting for them. It's hard to find somebody that you can work with, maybe that's got something to say about me, I don't know, maybe I'm hard to get along with, but if I'm going to do something well, I want to practice. I don't want to do anything just halfway. I want to do a good job.